Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Caveman to Cosmos with me, Alpha Biomega and Byzantium. So the year is 11,324 BC, turn 2064, and we are one turn away from slash and burn. But before we go there, another update as is usual on our empire. Now things are looking pretty nice. We are doing kind of good as far as research goes. I'm happy with that. There is a couple of things ahead of us because I did an investigation on and around our cities, and I found out that, for example, Patra does not really have much to do anymore because yes, it can build a couple of things, but none of these are going to boost our income, food, or industry production, and they're mostly useless, quite honestly. They will increase health or happiness, but we got tons of those, so there is no need for that. We don't really need to boost culture, so we don't have to get that. And if there is something that we might want, it usually has a negative attached to it. So yeah, Patra is going to be turned to meager wealth next, as well as Byzantium capital, or Byzantium's capital, Constantinople, has been for the past couple of turns. Same thing goes for Vadena. We have a couple of buildings scheduled, but after that there's, yeah, I mean, we could get the Sweat Lodge, but we are so far away from any kind of disease in our city that there really is no point in that. So boosting research or just directly going for wealth would be pretty darn good, which is kind of nice. Yeah, it's kind of nice. And I'm even considering a further expansion, which is an idea that I didn't have up until now. But why not do that? I mean, we are overextending, obviously, but Adrianople, Thessaloniki, and Nicaea, plus Antioch, will be constantly growing, and thus we are going to be safe there. And I know that we could put at least 4 cities in the area here, so it would make a logical sense for us to close off the border. Actually, we already did, as I see. Okay, so no rush. But putting a port city, for example, here, next to the Jade, which would be pretty good. It would allow us to take advantage of that. There is some mango here and some resin, so that would be pretty beneficial. Plus you can see that there are some crabs, some lobsters, and some clams. But I'd really like to be, sure that there is nothing bad that's going to hit us if we expand, because it's going to mean additional 20 to 30 of lost income. Now, as more Civics come around, I guess that the cost of the expansion is going to increase. The game seems to definitely be heading that way. But eventually, we can turn it around, or at least I hope. Another thing that's kind of nice is the fact that we are really doing good as far as development of our lands go. What I'm trying to say here is the fact that we have developed all of these tiles, and we have all of these little, gathering huts where people are taking down, you can see here the falling apples and stuff like that. It's pretty good. There are some tiles like the beaver one here and the corn one here that we haven't yet developed. So I'm thinking that we're gonna get a bit more gatherers. We have 3 here working on getting us a lumber camp at this tile, which may sound weird, but there's bamboo, and bamboo is a type of, well, I guess you could call it a type of a forest. I don't know, bamboo grove, basically. I don't know what the lingo would be with that. But once we're done with that, they're probably gonna go down here to get us this territory settled. And I'm looking forward to the sedentary lifestyle, because it's gonna not only change the look of our cities, which are now pretty much huts with spiky things around them, but it's gonna also change the landscape very much, because we're gonna start having farms, we're gonna start developing cottages, we're gonna start developing places like Well, actually, I'm not sure what the animal husbandry would call them, but probably farms, pig farm and stuff like that, canine. At this point, it's scavenging camp, so it's going to change. But there's going to be a dramatic change to what the landscape is going to look like once we get a sedentary lifestyle. And I'm looking forward to that. It's not that far. It's not that far anymore. Anyway, we are going to get Slash and Burn next, which will allow us to build fire abatis and remove vegetation, which leads to Earth Oven. But I think we're gonna let that sit for a while, because this obsoletes Captured Fire, which we have, and gives us Emu. Well, that replaces Fire Pit, but requires Prime Timber or Wood and Lumber Camp. Well, actually we have that, so that shouldn't be that bad, and it's gonna give us some benefits. But what you guys rightfully pointed is that we need Warfare, because it's going to give us Tribal Warfare, which is a new Civic that replaces Banditry. And while Banditry hasn't been all that nice for us, I think that Tribal Warfare is going to be beneficial. So I'm going to shadow it, and once we finish the Slash and Burn, we're going to go for Nocturnalism and then Warfare, which will cover this episode. Now, Warfare is pretty good because it gives some really nice buildings, Stick Combat being one of them. It gives extra free experience points to all melee units. And there is also one here which is called... Damn, I checked it out. It was... here it is. Warrior's Hut. Melee units receive extra 2 experience points. So if you build the Stick Combat, you get 5 for melee. And you get extra 1 for throwing and extra 1 for archers. So thank you to whoever suggested that Warfare gives this, because I missed that, and it's a good thing to go for. After which, we're going to go Animal Husbandry, Canine Domestication, and then I guess maybe Equine Domestication, because we got some donkeys and some horses around us that we're not using at this point. I guess that makes sense. And I wanted to say one more thing, but I kind of forgot what it was. It was connected to the technology. Someone suggested something else in the comments, and I did not catch that. So, wait. I had a thought there, but okay, I'm gonna remember and speak about it after the update. Or I'm not gonna remember and I will not speak about it after update. That's also the option. So let's end the Slash and Burn. Get it, and then jump forward.
The Slash and Burn. Take no prisoners. Anything goes is so corrosive to our democracy, and we've got to fight this, because it turns people off politics in general, and leaves that space to be occupied by special interests that determine how the goodies are to be passed out.
Barack Obama speech, terrorism is a tactic. Interesting. That's a fairly new quote then. So Slash and Burn gives us Fire Abatis, which is amazing because it gives 20% defense, but it also hurts any adjacent enemy unit by 10% per turn, which is extremely strong. Unfortunately, it increases the fire hazard in the city by 5, which is just too much. Just too much. And it gives us an improvement that we are not going to use at this point, but removing vegetation is very useful down the line when you can get farms. So some of the forests that we are now using to get lumber and extra production will have to go in lieu of farms, because those will be our main source of food, or at least that's how it works. Or worked in the previous playthrough. And what do we have here? Oh no. Neanderthal Stone Axeman, Neanderthal Wood Spearman, and Neanderthal Stone Axeman. Actually, this is an interesting thing that I might mention before we jump forward. I don't know if I cannot point to it, unfortunately. I'll try and... I can do it this way. So, do you guys see this little symbol above my mouse? It looks a bit like a police badge. So there is a thing in the game that we discussed with one of my friends recently, and that is that you can merge units together. So if you check, our Stone Axeman has a strength of 4, and this Neanderthal Stone Axeman should have a strength of 5, but it has 7.5. Because you can take 3 of your units, they need to be exactly the same, including skills, I think, or traits, or promotions, as they are called in the game, and you can merge them into a stronger unit. So you can turn 3 units into one slightly stronger one. So if for them that's 7.5, I guess for us it would be like 6. If we manage to merge 3 Stone Axeman into one, then I guess it would be 6 or 6.5. I'm not sure. I was actually kind of reluctant to use this, but he has confirmed yesterday that AI is actually using this, and now I see it in my game as well. So it makes sense to do that because you can get stronger units. I think they're called even battalions in this mod. And it's a new functionality that allows you to organize your armies better. And I think that you can even merge battalions into stronger units, which would probably be divisions. I'm not sure. But I was reluctant to use it because it gives you an unfair advantage, as AI is not using it, or it wasn't using it before. But now we have confirmed, and you can even see it in this very moment that the AI is using it as well. So yeah, I'll probably start doing that because if they're going to throw these units at me, there is not much that we can do with our Stone Axeman other than just sacrifice them en masse. And considering they got 4 units on this tile, yeah, Vodena's gonna face another siege. Turn 2081, year 11,218 BC. And we are 1 turn away from nocturnalism. But a bunch of things have happened. This was really a dramatic skip. I had to carefully play every single turn, and I'm gonna explain why. But before we go through that, I actually wanted to mention that our gatherer group that I boosted before we started going with Meager Wolf and Patra has finished the bamboo lumber camp, and now it will head to here, where it's going to go create a seed camp on the corn, scavenging camp on the beavers to give us those resources, and a seed camp on the pumpkins. But while they are here, is that there are some horses here, and I wanted to build an actual seed camp here, or the scavenging camp, which would provide us with horses, though I don't think we can use those until we get the equine domestication. However, there is something here that the game has started showing me, and that is called nomadic herd. I've never seen that before, and it gives extra food, extra 2 production, and extra gold, but requires canine domestication. So this marks the technology as something that we really need to get, and we have the same possibility to do here with the donkeys. Now, I don't think that this will actually no, it provides horse. Okay, so we can do it just as a benefit. So I'm not going to deal with these 2 tiles at this point, but instead, once we finish the tribal warfare, we are going to go for the equine domestication and get that. Okay, but what was happening between the turns? Well, we had something that could be called a siege of Vodena. We had a number of units, not only the ones that you actually saw at the end of the update, but the more of them came. And we had a huge fight here that took quite a lot of time. It was several turns of heavy fighting. But I'm happy to say that we have actually managed to merge our units into battalions here, and thus we were able to repel the enemy. It is kind of rough, to be honest, to create battalions, because you need all of the units to have exactly the same traits, as I was afraid. So even these guys, for example, cannot be merged into a battalion. I left them here so I can show you, because while these guys have just combat, these 2 guys have combat, poison tips, and marauder traits, so they are not eligible to merge together. There would be a little icon here allowing you to merge them. So it's kind of funny. I instead decided that I'm going to send that unit. I think it was here. Yeah, okay. So you are now going over here where you can merge with the other ones, and you guys are going to go back to the city to stay there. So that was kind of fun. But another thing has happened that I actually did not expect. We had a thief. We had a barbarian thief sneaking into our territory. And that was really awful. While I was fighting for Vodena, I suddenly got a message that I think it was this tile was destroyed. And I was like, what? And it said, a barbarian thief has destroyed the tile. So I sent my scouts, the Vodena Honored and the Black Hand here to scout for them. But while we were scouting this area, I couldn't find it. They destroyed a tile here, or here, I'm not sure where. So we sent the units here, and they destroyed a trail somewhere around here. But what happened then, I couldn't see the unit, but at a certain point I moved my unit, and it got ambushed and killed the thief. So that led me to the thought that the Nocturnalism might actually fill a gap for us that we have by giving us Ambusher, which I believe might be a unit that could help with this, because it has 50% versus recons. And I think it starts with, it starts with spotting. So if we can upgrade it to a better spotting, it could maybe help with these hidden units, because even the plus, how much do you have? +2? Yeah, Hawkeye 2, it gives us extra spot, and it wasn't enough. So we need a unit that can actually spot these thieves. If more of them comes, they will be a really big problem, because they just, just this one unit alone destroyed 3 tiles for us. And that was really, really bad. I was starting to panic, because if you cannot stop a unit as this just ravaging your land, then what the hell are you even planning to do? Well, weird. Anyway, Patra and Vodena are now both at size 4, meaning they both have 500 population, which is amazing. And as you can see, we are at 100% research. We're losing a bit of gold, but only Patra is currently on meager wealth together with Constantinople, while all of the other cities are constructing. I think that once Vodena switches to... I don't think there's anything here that we wanted, really. Yeah, so once Vodena also switches to meager wealth, we are going to swim in cash, and we might consider founding a new city. But, I understand what you guys are saying. I'm not going to rush into this like a crazy man. Instead, we still got tons of these gold-producing buildings to build in our new cities. Adrianople, Nicaea, Antioch, and the last one was Thessaloniki? Yes, so these cities are soon, within, 100 turns, I'm gonna start focusing on those, because you can see they got 37, 41, 30, and 30 production. So they will be very soon eligible to start building these. Yeah, it's like 7 turns for the Weaver. Okay, Antioch might actually focus on these first, though, because they, lumber camp. So you're gonna finish this, and then you're gonna start with these food producing building. But Nicaea, Thessaloniki, and Adrianople, they actually already started with these, so we can see the benefit coming soon. Okay, so I think that's all that I wanted to mention. One thing that's actually concerning me, though, that I haven't spoken about is the weakness of the slingers. We have tons of those, and they are very experienced. Some of these units, like this slinger unit, have just insane bonuses. These guys have combat of 4, shock of 1, city garrison of 1, and might. But they are unable to actually... with strength 3, they are not useful against any barbarian units, so it is kinda rough to have them. And I apologize, I have to cut in because my Windows update is here and I cannot do anything with that other than tab out. Okay, that was quick. Now let's move to Nocturnalism. I really hated those pop-ups from Windows Update. I don't know why they made it this way. So annoying.
It was the possibility of darkness that made the day seem so bright.
Okay, so as was mentioned before, Nocturnalism leads to warfare and is going to give us Rogue. Oh, actually Rogue has 2 spotting, so that's even better than the Ambusher. But it requires Thieves' Hideout. I don't want to build that. but having one or two thieves or rogues around. Assembly thief was the original one. Wow. Yeah, they got free whale. That's why the spawning is so hard. Yeah, so it was a rogue. That was probably a rogue, and I just messed up the name. Now, this really would lead to the fact that we want to get a Thieves Hideout at least in one of our cities. Okay, Warfare coming next, which will give us the mentioned or aforementioned stick combat, Warrior's Hut, and I really don't see it here. The Warfare, where was it? Nope, I don't see it here. Luther. Oh, use. Wow, okay, that's a good trade and drill. But yeah, I think let's skip ahead and enjoy Warfare. So I think we're pretty much done here at this point. And you know, being mad about the slingers is not going to help me in any way until we get archery. So until we get the sedentary lifestyle and then archery, these units are just going to be in, and I don't want to get rid of them because they get really nice traits. So abandoning experienced units is not, or disbanding experienced units is not a good strategy here. So yeah. Turn 2098 and we are one turn away from Warfare. And as you can see, we are back to 100% research and we get 10 surplus every turn. So awesome. Though, you know, arguably Constantinople is at meager wealth and Patra is at meager wealth, but Vodena isn't. So really, the difference between start of this episode and now is quite dramatic. We are 20% higher in research and we are still 11 gold higher with that. So I'm pretty happy. Not to mention that Adrianople, Thessaloniki and Nicaea are growing as crazy. They're working on gold producing buildings now. Though Nicaea is actually no, Wild Harp, Gatherer. Oh yeah, okay, I scheduled 2 more buildings before we start with the gold producing buildings. But Thessaloniki is working really nicely on Slaughterhouse, Indigo Gatherer, Beach Sand, Lumber Camp then. Adrianople is also working on gold producing buildings. Well, I say that, but I mean, it's a mixed bag. But we're gonna build our first canoe builder. I'm actually looking forward to that quite a lot because we want to build some of the workboats soon, which will help us with the production from the sea. But at this point, really, we're not focusing on that. I mean, you know, it would give us some gold and everything, but we're mostly trying to get maximum production of gold before our empire stabilizes. Now, we have finished the seed camp, or what's it called? Yeah, seed camp on the pumpkins and a seed camp on the corn. And now the rest of our group is working on the scavenging camp here to get us the beaver. I mean, that's pretty much all there is as far as the map goes. Units are still where they were. We merged some units. Things are looking pretty good, I think. So yeah, let's end the turn and hear it for Warfare. That is going to be a major game changer for us at this point, pretty sure.
Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of your women.
I actually have a typo here, but that's a famous quote. Anyway, Warfare gives us Logram, Neanderthal Logram, and Papuan Cannibal. As far as buildings go, we can build Ikhanda, which would give us extra great person production towards Great General. Actually, we're not that far from getting one. I mean, we're getting one per turn, and it's most likely going to be a great engineer. I have to check that in more detail after we are done with the technology. But we're getting Fighting Pit, which is a bit of a mixed bag for me. I mean, this building increases gold, culture, and happiness, and gives extra melee to your units, but it also increases crime. It's a mixed bag, as I said. Stick Combat gives new melee units free experience points, plus increases espionage, culture, and happiness. And Warrior's Hut just flat out gives experience to your units. And then we have the Papoon Culture, and we get a bunch of new improvements. The one that really caught my eye was the Looter, because it yields extra 50% from pillaging. While I do not like pillaging as such, later on when you get to larger scale conflicts, pillaging is a really effective way how to destroy enemy economy and just take them down. Sophistication is also pretty nice. Drill, City Raider. Back down, yes. This is... I just remembered what I wanted to speak about in the first update. And I forgot to note down who mentioned it, but someone had a really interesting point, saying that we should train a couple of skirmish units. This is really an interesting idea, because it would allow us to weaken the enemies that are marching towards us while protecting our units and not losing them. However, that has certain issues. First of all, the best skirmishers are probably, as I checked our ATWAT lists, and we would need to get them pretty far through down the back down trait, though it seems like they really don't have many requirements. They are probably available right from the bat. Let's see, back down 1. Okay, so they really just give you withdrawal chance. Okay. That's not bad. What I envision, having is 2 Atlatlists or some other units that would basically strike the enemy, weaken them, but retreat. The unfortunate truth, though, is that it doesn't always work, and even with back down 5, you have 75% withdrawal chance only. Wait, we need to select the technology, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Well, we want the canine domestication, and that's going through animal husbandry, so everything works really well in that regard. But let's look at... We actually have an Atlat list somewhere. I think we have one here. Yep. So when you look at Atlat list, they have a withdrawal chance in combat, 10%, and that, coupled with the 75 from the highest tier that we can now reach, would be 85% chance. So in 15% of combats they would die. so that is not that great. It gets better the further you go on the promotion line. So Javelins have 12, Skirmishers have 15, but then you get to Musketmen and they have 0. So yeah, it really is... I'm not... Actually, one thing that I don't know, and maybe some of you can clarify for that, I don't know if this is a chance per turn, because it says starts withdrawal at 60% HP, so if it just rolls it a couple of times, so if you have 85% chance, there is a 100% guarantee that they will retreat because of, if you throw your dice 5 times, there's, that would have to be like a 0.00001% chance that you don't roll correctly. But I don't really know how that works. Plus, they got the first strikes. But I like the idea. I'm thinking that the person who suggested that might be onto something. So I'll think about that. Now, let's look at our new Civic, which is Tribal Warfare. War as a way to train the younger generation. So what does it give us compared to banditry? So maintenance cost from distant to palace is the same. Same with the number of cities, and same with the cities on the continent. All of our new units get an extra free experience point. Okay. Our military upkeep free military upkeep increases by 2, so that's good. And 15% free military unit upkeep per population. Okay, so that's the same thing. Units have a 20% chance to avoid capture. Okay, so we had 20% decreased chance to avoid capture, and now we have a 30% chance to avoid. So it's 50% difference. That's good. Our capital loses a bit of production, but all cities are currently losing 3% gold, 2% science, 3% culture. So we would only be losing 2% gold, but we lose extra 2% in spying. And capital also gets a huge buff, with the exception of dropping 2% in spying. And archers are trained 20% faster, melee is trained 20% faster, throwing is trained 20% faster, and allows construction of warrior hut, and disables construction of civic banditry. So, okay, we're gonna... Oh, and there's actually no revolution for that. And that increased our income by 5. Awesome. So that is good. It removes banditry in all of our cities, but I am fine with that. Now what I'm gonna have to do here is I want to build the stick combat and the warrior's hut in our capital, which puts us from plus 15 gold to minus 14, but I think we can hold on for a couple of turns, especially if we lower the income, or actually increase the income like this. I'm going to sacrifice a bit of research, like 2 turns of it, but our income is going to be fine. We still haven't, by the way, finished all of the druidic buildings in Vodena, but once we're done with that, we'll turn it to meager wealth, which would be good. One thing that I actually tested before, nobody really suggested that, but I actually wanted to test what is better, whether meager research or meager wealth, and turns out wealth is slightly better, because if you can go 100% on research, the wealth is better. I think that research really kicks in once you already have 100%, and then the extra money would just be saved so you can use it for additional research. But other than that, it's better to go with meager wealth and finance your research that way, because that gives you a higher yield. Not by much, it's like difference of 3 per city, but it is better. And on that note, I think I'm gonna end the episode here. We are doing really, really good. As you can see, Adrianople is really close to growing, 28 turns, Nicaea 70, Antioch, okay, 579, but that is because we are going for gold production here and for industrial production, because it needs to build the buildings that we wanted. Then we can switch it. Constantinople, 99 turns, okay, it's gonna grow even more. Wow, we get 101 production here, Jesus. Patra has 189 turns, but then 165, and Thessaloniki 44. So yeah, during the next episode, definitely Adrianople and Thessaloniki are gonna grow, which is in itself really good news. And that's gonna put us even higher on this civilization scale. We are at 3,200 population. But you can see rival best, which I think would probably be Israel, is at 2,000, so they are catching up really. It's not like we are doing that good. We need to settle more cities soon. I mean, we already spoke about the places where we want them. One would be up here, then the salt one. And I'd also like to put one down here, because I want to protect Nicaea and just move the border further south. So a good tile would be probably either here or here. This one would give us... No, they will give the same. I thought there might have been a hill, but it's only here. But this is a jungle, so it might be a good idea to put it here, because then we would have a jungle next to us. It would allow us to get the olives as well. Yeah, this would be a good spot. And then the next city here, and we need to envelop our eastern flank. But that's gonna be, I mean... It's 1 city, 2, 3, 4 cities, which I think is available to us right now. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, okay, only 3. But we can go one city over because, I mean, the happiness in all of our cities is just excessive. So we can take a hit of 4 without any issues. And if there are any issues, we got thousands of buildings with a way to increase our happiness. So we don't really have to be afraid. And, you know, saying literally thousands while you have maybe a dozen, okay, that's not a good thing, but okay. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you next time with more Caveman to Cosmos.